Yo, 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 what is up, everybody? It is your boy Jay What Ifs, back with part 2 of What If Deku had Asta's 5-leaf grimoire. So, you know what? I'm just going to say this right now. Thank you all so much for the support on the last one. I know it's a new video and it's a new account. So, I just want to thank you all so much for all the support that you have given me. And without further ado, let's get into it. As left off from before, it is revealed that the person that busted through the door in a super normal fashion is like, haha, I am here, bursting through the door like a normal person. And everybody's like, whoa, All Might! And it is finally revealed that the person who did this was none other than the number one hero, the symbol of peace, All Might. He bursts in and then he explains, I'm going to be your new hero course teacher because the school thought it was going to be cool for me, the symbol of peace, to teach all the way of being a pro hero. And everybody's like, whoa, that's so cool. And he's like, anyways, let's go. We are going to do something. We're going to be doing a 2v2 battle simulation called the Heroes versus Villains. But with that being said, he clicks his little button and their costumes pop out. The clothes make the pros. Get your hero costumes on and meet me outside at the testing ground, or the battlegrounds. So everybody puts it on. It's the my hero like fashion, you know what I'm saying? Anyways, so everybody's like, whoa, your costume's so cool. And Deku, he actually walks out later than everyone. If y'all know what I'm talking about, if y'all know his outfit for his Epsilon outfit, I'm gonna say it's like that, like the yellow scarf, but instead of it being like dark green, it's gonna be black, and it's gonna be like pure white gloves, like nothing's really on them, and they go up a little higher, but not like half of his forearm, and he doesn't have the metal mask, and on his little like yellow belt, we're gonna say that that's black as well, and it has a little spot for his grimoire. And All Might pulls lots, and he basically just says, all right, everybody, so these are going to be the teams, and I'll just say the teams really quick, so I don't know just like trying to remember, I guess. So Team A is going to be Izuku and Mirko. Team B is going to be Todoroki and Shoji. Team C, Mineta and Momo. Team D, Bakugo and Uraraka. E, Aoyama and Ashido. F, Koda, Sato, Kaminari, Jiro. At G, H, Asumi, Tsuyu Asui and Tokoyami. Team I would be Ojiro and Ida. Team J would be at Kirishima and Sero. So you're probably realizing that I left out Hagakure. Quite frankly, I'm just gonna leave her out of the story because it's like there's no like reason to keep her in. I don't feel like she really had any like. I don't even know how she made it in the first place. Like, she has a really cool quirk, yeah, but how did she make it to 1A? Did she, like, bribe a teacher or something? Regardless, like, what is, like, even if she had her, like, flashing ability, that sounds weird. Even if she had that, like, flash ability where she, like, directed the light particles to blind, that's not gonna blind robots. And she's invisible, so how did they know that she tracked her points? Like, so, we're just gonna say that she's not in this because, quite frankly, I don't think she really had anything to do with the story in the first place. So then it is revealed the teams that will be fighting against each other, and I'm gonna tell you guys this now. I'm not gonna do Izuku and Bakugo, not yet at least. Like, there's gonna be a specific like part where I'm gonna do Izuku versus Bakugo, and I think it's gonna be really cool. So the teams going against each other are actually going to be Izuku and Mirko versus Todoroki and Shoji. Like, I just feel like that's gonna be a crazy fight because Shoji's like very physical, Izuku and Mirko are very physical, and Todoroki is very like quirk based. So with that being said, let's get into the fight. I mean, what else can we do? We're gonna say that I kind of want Todoroki to be a villain and Izuku to be the hero. So with the so whenever the teams are announced, Izuku's like, oh, that's pretty cool. He goes and talks to Mirko, and she's like, I just want you to know I'm better than you. And Izuku's like, okay, cool, whatever. And he's acting like smile, he's acting bubbly because, you know, he's happy to be there now. He's getting used to the people, so he's getting more extroverted. And what he does is he just keeps talking to Mirko, and he's like, all right, so here's the plan. I feel like Todoroki, he's half hot, half cold, so I feel like he's just gonna try and freeze the entire floor, which is what he tries. They walk in the building and they realize this, and Izuku just stabs his Demon Slayer sword into the ground, canceling out the ice on that in that area. And so he's just dragging his sword across the ice to like delete it and like nullify it. And Mirko's like, "Whoa, that's a really cool sword. Like, how did you manage? How are you managing to cancel out his quirk, but in like such a small area?" And he's like, "Oh, I don't know. It's just something that I can do." You know, he's not gonna try and explain the anti-quirk stuff that just goes through it, like the anti-material. We're just gonna say. So they go up. They find the floor that they like where the ice is originating from. And they huddle around the door and they're speaking really quietly so Todoroki and Shoji don't hear them. And whenever they're doing this, they're trying to come up with a plan. And Izuku peers into the like place and sees that the bomb is encased in ice. And in order to be able to get to the bomb, they have to be able to take out Ojiro and Todoroki so that way the ice can go away. And so that way they can pass the trial without being, you know what I'm trying to say. So they could pass it without being caught, really. So what they do is they go in and originally, like they just burst in through the door and they're just like, haha, I'm here, blah blah blah, and like in the classic All Might fashion, that's what they do. And it starts out with Mirko versus Todoroki and Ojiro and Izuku. And I'm gonna be so for real. Mirko's like, I'm saying this is like a young Mirko, so she's going to put up a good fight, but Todoroki eventually is just gonna be like, yeah, go away, and he's gonna encase her in like an ice, but like not covering her face, of course. And Mirko's gonna just lose it, like she's gonna lose control, and she's gonna shatter the ice, and she's gonna run at Todoroki and be like, why did you do that? And she goes and crashes her like fist into his face, and just like. And you get like this slow-mo scene of his just like jaw going blah. And Izuku's fighting Ojiro. And we're gonna say, like, I kind of want this one to be kind of more interesting. Ojiro's like, why are you gonna try? What are you gonna try and fight me with that sword? And Izuku's like, well, yeah. I mean, it's the only thing I could do. And Ojiro's like, nah, use your hands. So Izuku's like, I bet. He puts his sword back in his grimoire. He throws up the hands, doing a fist pump. And Ojiro's like, yeah, no, this is how I can tell I'm going to win this. And Izuku's just going up and going up. And you guys have to remember, Izuku was boxing monsters in the forest for, like, the longest time. Like, he was boxing bears, like, Russian style. So he was just doing, like, little sways, like, boxing. And Ojiro's like, wait, this might serve as a problem. Ojiro throws a kick. Deku catches it. And he swings a right hook straight at Ojiro's face. Ojiro barely dodges, barely getting nicked by his punch, and it rattles him a bit, so he steps back and he's like, okay, I have to take a different approach at this. Deku just keeps swaying, and it's almost hypnotizing to Ojiro. Like, where did he learn how to do this? Anyways, Ojiro's like, alright, I'm gonna just have to try and be fast. And Deku, he's reading his ki. Like, there is no chance that, like, Ojiro's gonna be able to land a hit. Like, even as fast as he is. Ojiro throws like 4 or 5 punches, like a great combo that would knock like any normal person out. Like even a pro fighter probably wouldn't like stand a chance. But Deku's just like weave, and he just goes boom, boom, and throws just a massive jab straight at Ojiro's nose, sending him flying through the building into the building next to it. And everybody's like, whoa, does he have a strength quirk? And he's like, oh, and then Deku just looks up. And he looks up at the camera. He's like, nah, I'm quirkless. And everybody's like, what? And Izuku takes out his sword. He taps the ice, and it cancels it out. And he touches the bomb, and he's like, so All Might, do we win? And he puts his sword back in. And All Might's like, yes, young Midoriya. You two can come back up now. And if you wouldn't mind, give the 2 to the robots. So Deku hops across the building and picks up Ojiro, putting him on his shoulder, and is like, hey, it was a good fight. I applaud you for it. And he goes and gives it to the robot that takes him away to Recovery Girl, and Mirko does the same with Todoroki. Okay, and the next fight that I actually want to cover is going to be Bakugo and Uraraka versus Mineta and Momo. So, of course, this fight is going to be very different. So Uraraka, what she does is she taps her little hands together and she peers in through the building and she takes note of the entire building layout, like writing it down on a piece of paper, and hands it to Bakugo. They're going to be the heroes. And Momo and Mineta are going to be the villains. And Mineta, what he does is he just pulls off pop-off balls and just goes and swings them around the building to make sure that they can't get there. Well, to no avail, of course, because Mineta is just utterly useless. But Momo, being smart, she borders off the walls with really like strong metal, like the windows, so that way they wouldn't just be able to fly in. Or well, what she thinks is gonna be good. And Baku's just like, hey, thanks. And he explodes upwards to the floor right above them. And he just destroys the floor and sends an explosion at Mineta, sending him flying into the wall, and then an explosion at Momo, and she gets flying as well, and he just touches the mom and is like, huh, I win. Y'all two are too weak for me. And everybody's just like, whoa, Bakugo is so crazy strong. How was he able to do this? When in reality, I'm going to say that he was actually a little bit weaker than he was in canon, just because he didn't have, Izuku pushing him during the 10 months of training. He wanted to mollywop Izuku, even if he, to make sure that he had no chance of getting into the school, if he even decided trying to go. Just like the original, how they had that, rivalry. They're gonna have this and this, Deku's gonna be like, oh, he's crazy strong, I need to keep an eye on him, my sword's not going to be able to keep up with that if he gets even stronger. And then he thinks about it and he's like, nah, I got that, And I'm going to say that, really all of the fights go similar to in canon. And, Shoji's the dupla arm guy. That's my bad. But it's going to be the same thing, but in a different sense, because Shoji's going to be more, ninja-esque. Anyways, it's gonna be the same hands thing, but it's gonna be it's just gonna be different, not really different. All of the fights are gonna go similar to canon. We're gonna say yeah, and then they have another 2 weeks of simply learning and they're learning about the basic, school stuff for another 2 weeks, and they're like, man, I really wish we had All Might here to give us more lessons. And right as they say that, All Might, no, I'm kidding. Aizawa was actually like, well, everybody, we're going to be going to the USJ. And everybody's like, what? We're going to be taking a field trip to the Universal Studios of Japan? And he's like, no, we're going to be going to the Unforeseen Simulation Joint. I think that's the name. And he's like, we're going to be testing and making sure that you have proper rescue skills, and that you could be able to, that way you could be able to know that even if you're in an area that's against your basic stamina and your basic prowess, let's say if Todoroki, only using his ice quirk, went into a fiery building, it's going to be bad for him. Or if Bakugo went into a frozen, Taiga. That sounds like Minecraft. But no, it's if he goes into a really cold building where he can't produce enough sweat, he needs to be able to be prepared for that. So he's like, everybody just go get your parents, guardians, siblings, if they're over 18, to sign this, and it'll be in 2 weeks. So you guys have a week to be able to do it, so that way we can process it. So Izuku's like, okay, cool. And he's like, oh, wait. No, I'm going to have somebody sign it for me, because while he does have guardians, he is also going to take him a week to get there and a week to get back. So he talks to Aizawa about this, and Aizawa's like, oh, well, that's not good. So Aizawa's like, well, we'll just go talk to Nezu about that. So Deku goes, and he goes to the principal's office, and he starts talking to Nezu, and Nezu's like, it's okay, you can go. I've already contacted the people at the church, and they said that it is perfectly fine if you go. And Deku's like, wait, what? How do you know I was about to come up here? And Nezu's like, well, I keep tabs on all of my students. I'm a very smart guy, after all. I know how far you live, and I was going to tell you to let me call them anyways and make sure everything was okay, but then I've already signed it for you, and I'll be taking in as quote-unquote guardian for this field trip. And Deku was just like, thank you so much. And he goes, and Nezu's like, of course. Now, would you care to join me for a game of chess? And Deku's like, I don't really know how to play, but I could try. And Nezu's like, perfect. And he sets up the chessboard. Like, this is after school hours. And Deku moves the pawn to start the Queen's Gambit. And Nezu's like, very good, very nice, the Queen's Gambit. And Nezu does the perfect counter move to it, and Deku's like, well, dang, people at the church were not as good as you. And then chess match plays out, and Deku's actually not blundering as much. Nezu's not blundering either, and they're kind of actually stalemating. Except in the end, Deku kind of fails to make a move, and Nezu checkmates him. And Deku's like, dang it, I was so close. And Nezu's like, yes, you were, kid. You actually kept up quite nicely. And Izuku's like, thank you so much. It was a fun game. I hope that we can play again sometime. And Nezu's like, of course, young Midoriya. And Izuku's like, anyways, thank you again. And he walks out of the door and he goes out of UA. And he just sees that Mirko and Uraraka are talking to each other. And he's like, oh, hey, what's up, guys? And they're talking about how the training things had went, how training is going for the two, because we're gonna say they're kind of friendly. And immediately Uraraka just starts blushing, and Mirko sees this and is like, oh, it's like that. And Izuku's just completely oblivious to this, and he's like, anyways, I'll catch y'all tomorrow, or I'll catch y'all after the weekend, and I'll see y'all later. So Izuku walks off, and this is where Mirko, as he's walking off, she sees how muscular he is, and she's like, oh dang, he's actually, and she starts thinking back to the training, the 2v2s, and he's like, whoa, he actually is super strong. And she starts blushing. It's like, wait, not stronger than me though, kind of serving as that Noel tsundere thing. And he's like, and she's like, yeah, but I'm still way better than him. And Uraraka's just still blushing, he's so good, he's so cool, blah 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 blah. And they start just being each other. It's kind of like Mimosa and Noel and Black Clover. That's kind of what I'm trying to get at. And if you know what I mean, you know what I mean. And he goes back to his cheap motel, and he keeps working. And he works after school, he works before school. He pretty much just does work every day. And then 2 weeks go by, and he's like, whoa, that was way too fast. And then eventually Aizawa was like, all right, kids, time to go to the USJ. And we're gonna say that the cafeteria thing, it does happen, and we're just gonna say that Ida's class pres. And because of the same exact thing. And we're gonna just say that he's still being a stick in the mud, and he's trying to force everybody to get onto the bus in a civic way. And all the girls start talking about who's the strongest, and Uraraka and Mirko both start blushing, and Uraraka says under her breath, I think it might be Izuku. And everybody's like, what? No way. It has to be Todoroki. Have you seen his quirk? Fire and ice? Even if he doesn't use his fire, that's still a crazy potential for a quirk. And everybody just starts talking, and Asui's finally like, Ribbit, I think it's Todoroki. And that kind of just seals it. So anyways, they finally make it to USJ. And whenever they do, they are just chilling outside, and they're all just talking amongst each other. And they finally decide to go in after everybody's off the bus, and Aizawa's ready. So they go in, and Deku feels a really weird key coming from the center. And he tells Aizawa about this, and Aizawa's like, noted. So he puts a prop in the door so that way it won't fully close. And this is actually big brain move from Aizawa, and you'll see why. And this is actually because 13 comes up the stairs and is like, hello everybody. So about quirks, you see I have a black hole quirk, and then demonstrates on a nearby tree, and it just gets sucked up into her little quirk thing. And it's the basic boring stuff. Everybody already understands this, so everybody's just like, yes ma'am, we understand. And all of a sudden, Kirishima was like, whoa, they even hired fake villains? And everybody looks down and is like, whoa, that's so cool. And just this purple mist is bringing in villains. And Aizawa was like, those aren't fake. 13, you ready? And 13's like, yeah, and she opens her little like finger thing, and Aizawa jumps down holding his scarf, revealing his goggles, and Deku's like, that's the pro hero Eraserhead. He's so cool. And Aizawa jumps down and is like, thanks, kid. And he starts fighting the villains. And Deku's like, whoa, I gotta go help him. So he runs down before Kurogiri can teleport everyone. And everybody's like, and he's like, Ida, go get All Might. That is what All Might, that, like, Aizawa said that, like, right before he jumped down. It's like, Ida, I propped the door open. Run and go get All Might. And so that's what Ida does. So he runs off trying to go get All Might. And Deku's like, oh, I gotta get a piece of this. Like, I want to go fight some villains. So he pulls out his sword and he jumps off, putting like his grimoire still floating there. And Kurogiri teleports everyone like the original, and everybody's just sitting there. Like Asui and Mineta, what they do is Mineta just like uses pop off, hopping on Asui's back and she just swims away, like hopping away basically. We're gonna say that's how they get out of that one, and they go back to the regular class. And Deku's down there helping Aizawa fighting villains, and he's doing pretty good. Like, he hasn't been touched yet, and that's mostly because Aizawa's helping him out, and like he's like using his eraser quirk everywhere all at once, pretty much, like he did in the original. And Izuku's like, thank you so much, Mr. Aizawa, and he's helping him out, and Aizawa's like, yeah, you too, kid. You really don't think you should have been down here, but... And they get back to back, like the classic, like anime fight, like duo scene, and he's like, all right, kid, you ready? And he's like, and he like grips his handle even tighter, and he's like, yeah! And they just start fighting again, and Shigaraki's scratching his head and like, no, it's not supposed to happen like this. And he's like, Nomu, kill that kid! And Nomu's like, Rah! And he runs at Izuku like, stomp, 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 boom, 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 like hitting him with a massive combo and just sends him flying. And I was like, no, kid! And Shigaraki's like, ha, made it fair. Ha, ha, ha. Nomu, go kill Aizawa. And at this moment, like, Deku crashes into the wall, and it's like everything is frozen. And then we hear the one scene. All three leaves of the clover represent something. In the first leaf lies integrity. The second leaf lies hope. The third lies love. And it is legend to say that the fourth leaf lies good luck. But in the fifth, there lives a devil. And in this moment, we see a new sword pop out of his grimoire. It's the Demon Dweller sword. He hilts it and it's like, finally, I think I can be fast enough. He pulls it out and he's like, whoa, it's so much lighter. And we see his legs muscles bulge as he explodes from his the wall that he was trapped in. And he flies at the Nomu with the sword held backwards, and he slashes 3 times, hitting the Nomu in the head and cutting off his arms. Like, not chopping off his head, but he chops off both of his arms and slashes him across the neck. And Nomu's like, Wah! As all of his wounds begin to heal, and he's like, what? He can heal that fast? And Aizawa was like, I was canceling his quirk. He just has that fast of regen. And Nomu looks at the kid like all angry and hits him with another combo and another combo and another combo, sending him flying even faster into another wall, and is about to jump onto him again. But just then, we hear boom, with All Might coming in, not smiling at all. And he says, what are you doing to my students? And he's even angrier, seeing one of his favorite students being thrown into a wall. And he's like, your battle is with me now. And he jumps down there, beginning to fight the Nomu, and it's just even faster. And All Might is like, I'm gonna teach you what you get for hurting my students. One for all, I think he used Texas Smash. Texas Smash! And there's just 3 consecutive hits as the Nomu just goes boo, like in the cannon, and just gets sent flying. And Shigaraki's like, no, it's not fair. That Nomu was supposed to kill you. And All Might's like, I guess it was just too weak then. Get out of here before I hurt you. And he's like, oh wait, I can't let that happen either. And he jumps at Shigaraki and he's like, Kurogiri, get me out of here! And just then, like right as like All Might's like mere inches away from his face. Shigaraki gets teleported away, and All Might's like, "Damn it! I let him get away." And all we see now is Izuku just passed out on the floor, and we see a scene of the Demon Dweller sword slowly falling back into his grimoire. And he gets like 2 weeks off of school, so he goes to the motel and he tells the owner that he's really hurt, so he doesn't think he can work for about a week. And the motel's owner like, "No, it's totally fine. You've given me so much service, I can't even lie." And sorry if y'all heard that horn, but anyways, so where do I want to go now? So finally, the 2 weeks are over. They go back to school, and Izuku just proceeds working and going to school. And a week goes by of school, and they're finally told about the sports festival. And after this, like immediately after this, like school is over, and all of 1B is just standing there in the doorway, staring at Class 1A. And Monoma's like, "You guys think you're better than us just because you guys got attacked by a few villains?" And he touches Izuku, trying to copy his quirk, because he heard that like he kept up and like helped fight a bunch of villains with Aizawa. And he's like, "Wait, you don't have a quirk?" And Izuku's like, "Yeah, nah, I'm quirkless, man." And Monoma's like, How were you fighting villains if you're just a simple quirkless kid?" And he's like, "Because I'm strong." And this in turn creates like a rivalry between Monoma, and he's like, "I gotta get as strong as you. Like, I'm going to surpass you because you're quirkless and I need to be better than you." And Izuku's like, "Good luck trying." And he walks out, and Monoma's just like, "Shh, like, I'm going to get better than him." And that's like that. Kind of serving as like a kind of Leopold character. If you guys know who I'm talking about, yeah. And Bakugo's like, "You really think that you're gonna be able?" And Bakugo like starts talking to Izuku and is like, "You're not gonna be better than me though. I'll get even stronger, no matter how much you train." Serving like now kind of building another rivalry with Izuku, kind of serving as like a Yuno-esque character. And Izuku's like, "No matter how hard you train, I'm always gonna be 2 steps ahead." And Bakugo's like, "Well, then I'll train even harder." and Izuku's like, "Well, then I'll even train even harder, like harder." And Bakugo's like, "That's not even a word." And Izuku's just like, "Yeah, huh?" And Bakugo's just like, "Whatever," and walks off. And that was that. And a week goes by, them prepping for the sports festival. And finally, they're ready for the sports festival, and then there's a massive crowd. The people from the church came out to watch this, and and Deku's just waving up into the crowd, saying like, "Thank you guys so much, like, yeah." And it's actually like announced that Izuku's gonna be the one giving the speech. So he gets up on the podium and he gives an amazing speech. He's like, "I just want you guys to know that I'm just gonna say this now. I'm quirkless and I can do it. I just want you all to know, no matter your quirk, no matter your power, no matter how much money you have, if you have dreams and you aspire to complete them, you can do it too. You just need to surpass your limits and go plus ultra." And the crowd just goes crazy for it. And he's like, "So everybody, do your best and surpass those limits." And he puts the mic down, and he's just waving up at the crowds again, and everybody's like, "Yeah, we love you," ah! Like doing like applauding him. And Midnight comes up there like, "Good speech, kid. Now I'll take it over from you." She takes the mic and she's like, "Okay, what is our first bat gonna be?" And ding 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 ding, like the little spinner wheel, ding 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 ding. A race to see who's gonna be the fastest, who's gonna be the best. Let's see right now. Challengers, line up. And they all line up like at the like tunnel area. And Todoroki does his little, and it's like, "Go, go, go!" Midnight screams that, and they all start running, and Todoroki freezes the tunnel, and Izuku just yanks out his grimoire and stabs into the ice and just runs. And he runs like he used his he used his Demon Dweller sword, and he stabs into the ice and he jumps off and he just goes, and he starts running alongside Todoroki, and Bakugo's like, "Ha, you can't beat me that easily." And all 3 of them are just running. and they easily pass every single section. I don't see Deku doing the landmine thing in this version, but we're gonna say that Todoroki actually gets first place just because of his ice and the mobility, meaning he's gonna have the 10 million point headband. Bakugo's gonna get second place at 205, and Deku's gonna get 200, or third place at 200. And then it's announced about the cavalry battle. Midnight's like, "Good job, challengers. That is all." It's all the regular people from canon. So the teams are actually going to be as followed for the cavalry battle. It's going to be Deku, Uraraka, Tokoyami, and Mirko. And then for Bakugo's team, it's going to be Bakugo, Kirishima, Ashido, and Seiro. Then Todoroki's going to be Todoroki, Ida, Momo, and Kaminari. So that's going to be all of the teams. So I think actually, yeah. Okay, I do have enough on each team. I'm not over. So we're gonna say that they put Uraraka on the top because if anything happens, she can just float away. So everybody's like, all right, fine. But they're not gonna go for the 10 million point headman. Izuku has an extreme battle IQ. I just need to preface that. Like, he has a great battle IQ, and he knows that Bakugo is going for that 10 million, and he knows everyone's gonna be going for it. So what he says is he's gonna be like, all right, what we're gonna do is we're not going for that 10 million point headband. Tokoyami, I want you to use your dark quirk, and I want you to snag a bunch of small headbands just to make sure we pass. So he snags pretty much everyone's headbands, and we're just gonna say everybody passes like usual. It's not really a fun portion to go cover. It's not, in my opinion, I don't love covering this portion, just because it's just a regular cavalry battle, and then we get into the 1v1s. Which this is going to be fun, and I feel like you might enjoy this actually. So the first battle is going to be versus Deku and Shinso, and I can see this going multiple ways, but this is the way I'm going to take it because I feel like it's going to be super cool. And Shinso's going to be like, I can't believe you were born without a quirk. You must be super weak. And I don't see Izuku taking this lightly. I think he's going to be like, what did you say? And Shinso's just going to smirk and be like, ha, I got you right under my spell. And what I see happening is similar to what the Queen of Witches did, where she basically put Deku unconscious, and where this kind of unlocks his half demon form, and he snaps out of it, and he's like, "Urgh!" And not really being able to control, he lunges at Shinso, slamming his fist straight into his stomach, knocking the wind out of him and slamming him out of the arena. And I just see Izuku after this just being whoa, boom, 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 and he just passes out. And we're gonna say that both of them are actually unable to continue because of this, leaving the match in a draw. And this is the reason why I did this, is Deku's gonna remember that feeling, and he's gonna be like, whoa, that's kind of weird. And this is kind of a 1/4 hybrid, uncontrolled esque thing, because he's not because there's 4 stages of it. If you guys have seen Black Clover, there's 1/4, which he gets during the Witch's Forest thing, and then he gets half after the time skip, and then he gets that third against that one dude. I think his name, it's not Dante. It is, okay, it's the person that him and Yami faced against in Black Clover, and he goes super mad, and he gets both of his eyes are covered with the demon or the devil, and it's the 75% and he's uncontrolled. That's 75%. And then I see him going full devil armor controlled and uncontrolled as well. But that's going into Leah Bay stuff and the basics. So anyways, and then all of the battles continue as regular, and we're gonna say Bakugo gets first place, but he's super mad about it again in canon because he's less mad because he didn't take it oh, Todoroki thought Izuku was better than me, because that's I feel why a lot of the reason why Bakugo was mad in the original was because he uses fire on Deku but not him. That's just not fair. And it's gonna actually be the regular scores of Bakugo, Todoroki, Tokoyami, and Bakugo's you should have used your full strength. And Todoroki's like, it's not my quirk, I can't do it. And Bakugo's just like, what do you mean it's not your quirk? You were the one born with it, weren't you? And Todoroki's like, you don't understand. And Bakugo's like, whatever, nerd. And he's just like, whatever. I can't believe that stupid Deku lost, though. I really wanted to break all of his bones. And then after this, it's just going to be like a week with Deku recovering, and he's like, whoa, that was like kind of cool, actually. Being able to do that, like, ability, even if it was like uncontrollable, I kind of want to learn how to do that. So we're going to say that, like, well, actually, you know what? They're gonna go back to class, and as I was like, alright kids, all the scores are in, and you're gonna be having to pick out hero names and having to pick out internships. So, well, I'm just gonna leave it there. Thank you all so much for watching. Have a wonderful day, and you know what? We'll go into internships and hero name after that, or in the next part. Well, like I was saying, have a wonderful day, or night, or whatever, and peace.